Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a pretty non-bingo-y rack, only one vowel, and duplicates. But I think it's probably too good to change. I could play Hend, sorting out all of the duplicate problems and leaving a decent rack leave. I don't think this makes any 8s with a random floater. And I would have other options should opponent play a vowel. Well, he does. Just the one. So, is there anywhere for Hend? Till takes an S and a Y at the end, and an S in front. I have hidden through the I. That's not going to score very much. I could play held, I think, but that's keeping 4 consonants. And I can't play parallel to till without again leaving 4 consonants, so I think I'll open the board up with hidden for 12. Not good. A long way from a bingo, and F and V are both non-bingo-y and lack synergy. Nice play by opponent. Now this rack is a little more flexible than the previous one. I do have 2 vowels. But where can I play? I don't have a way of playing underneath the J and the N. Yojan takes an A at the end as well as an S. I have neither. So what can I do? Well, I can play fiver, getting rid of the F and the V, leaving an okay rack lead, not massively bingo-y, but I'm primarily sorting the rack out, and I don't think anything much better is going to be on offer. I am going with this. Well, I do now have some vowels, but this doesn't look a bingo-y rack either as a 7 or an 8. So where are the floaters? Just to satisfy myself of that, well, T and L and F. Okay, so my attention now turns to the H. What score can I get from it? And I do now have the vowels to go underneath J and N. So I could play aha, leaving G-E-O-T. That's not terrible. A gate would also play, but stopping 1 square short of column 15, so not so good. Well, opponent interrupts or takes out the aha play. However, there's still the possibility of playing underneath the J and getting the play doubled. My H could begin underneath the, or could be placed underneath the O. So I could play hater. Let me see what that scores. 36 points, good score. Just about okay rack leave. Now, the alternative spot which caught my eye was column 10, placing my H next to the I, and that would require a play ending OH, and I'm not seeing a way of making such a play and splitting up duplicate A. So, with that said, hater for 36. Fantastic. I have toe rags and storage and orgiats and garots, possibly one other, and one of those is going to play because OH takes an S and I takes an S hook. And I'm not sure about in arm, that may not take an S. However, I think row M is the best spot. It doesn't provide parallel access to triple word squares. So what do I have here? Do I have anything which extends beyond OH? So Garot only plays making OHS. Torags, likewise. Orgiats, likewise. Storage, likewise. Well, not likewise, it doesn't play at all. So Torags, it's got to be Orgiats, I think, because that avoids placing a vowel underneath this double word square, which would make row L particularly hot. Opponent could put an X underneath the E, but then he'd be opening row O. I'm going with this. Well, I do now have a slight lead, but I haven't drawn well. Wow, fantastic bingo by opponent, 104 points. What am I going to do by way of reply? Well, certainly no bingo here. I'm drawn to UWW and the thought that I need to play off at least 2 of them, and probably only 2, given how unsynergetic they are. So a play of wow works, and this isn't terrible. The N softens the U, 35 points. W also goes underneath the E, but I can't play off both W's. Do I have a play down onto the Z, which may be justified over wow by dint of score? And I don't. I'm going with this. Not good. Duplicating the U and the N, and no scoring tiles. So let me look at the score. I trail by 40 with opponent on turn and only 38 tiles in the bag. So I think at this point I am a significant underdog. And the board is not awash with bingo possibilities. Tilly may take an S in front, in which case row F is available, and column 14. But opponent is good, and those lanes I'm sure he'll have an eye on. Now, do I have a play through the Z? I have the tiles for Azure, but that doesn't work. No, I'm not seeing one. I'd like to play off both U's, but the priority is to play off one. And look at this, still the remaining 2 U's to come. And a good score for opponents. I don't have an O for going underneath EX. Do I have a play in row O which uses both U's? And I'm not sure I do. So quite a tricky spot here. I've got Guri for almost nothing. I'm wondering about changing, keeping AENR. Or I could play Neuron. Let me see what this scores. 7 points, keeping AU. Well, changing is better than that. Now, UR goes above G and E. AUR? Well, that's not a word, so I don't think I have a play in row L. I have UNOR. This may be the play. UNOR for 17, keeping a decent rack lead. That's certainly better than changing. I'm going with this. Great, that looks jolly close to a bingo. I'm not sure about Beaners. If Beaners is good, then it now does play. So, should I check that in the first instance? I'm going to check it in the bottom right. I don't want to play it. I want to consider alternatives. It's not good. So, is there a valid word from these 7 tiles? Well, what about enablers through the L? Again, I have some doubt about that. So hard with agent nouns to be confident. And that would only be face value. But I'm not seeing anything else through that L. What about a play onto the T? And what about a 7? Nothing is jumping to mind. Let me try enablers for 61. Well, that is good. And I now trail by 50. Wow, amazing bingo for opponent. Another 100-point bingo. Playing 200-point bingos is the equivalent of playing 3 ordinary bingos. So I think my goose is cooked. I trail by 160. Now I would have evolutes through an L, and I've just blocked that with enablers. So I don't think I have a bingo with this rack. However, there are still bingo lanes on the board, and I do have an S. So I think my priority is to play off the V. And now, having gone from a position of no U's being played and the Q unseen, there is only one U unplayed, and it's on my rack, and the Q is unseen. 11 minutes on my clock. So, the G is available, so I can sort out the vowels like this. There are still 3 E's to come and 1 on my rack. This isn't a bad 4-letter set. 29 points. Well, I do draw more vowels, and the F doesn't go well with the U. I think it's the F which has scuppered my bingo prospects with this rack. So, where can I play off the F? Well, above the E of compted, I could play FEU. That would totally sort the rack out and leave a 4-letter powerhouse with EIST. Will that be blocked? Both Y, P, and B can all go above that E. But opponent may focus on shutting down bingo lanes to maximise his winning spread. I could play FEU onto the U of U, nor keeping the U. Perhaps hoping for a bingo with the Q. My F can also go next to OF. Well, FEU certainly the play. I'm not seeing anything to come close to that. WOU not good, otherwise it could play in row E. WOF is good, but IU isn't. I'm just looking around for alternative spots for FEU since the rack leave is so good. Mind you, 3 I's to come, so EIST perhaps not as good as it would be with other unseen tiles. 11 minutes on my clock, 14 on opponents. Another bingo. Opponent is absolutely on fire. He's got nearly 500 points. So, well, the one saving grace of that move is my FEU spot remains available. So few for 30. Not good. I draw a duplicate I and the Y. And opponent bingos again. Another 100-point bingo. This is absolutely insane. So he's now approaching 600 points. And he's drawn the C and the Q. The bag's empty. C and Q are in the bag. Is opponent stuck with the Q? And I need to keep an eye out for INs because of Sank. Well, let me just see anything I see. I see chin. So opponent can go out there. Does he have anywhere else for his Q? Well, there is a U here, but he can't use that. Well, I don't think he has. So, is there anything else are there any ATs available? There is in column 11, but it's blocked by Fiverr. I've got absolutely tons of time to dwell on my loss. I think I do need to identify if opponent can go out, because there is a huge, although the game is lost, there is a huge number of spread points available here if I'm able to block opponent playing his cue. Were I to let him do so, that would be a significantly bad play. So I'm going to play AY, and I'm playing the A as well as the Y to double the value from the A. Here on in, I'm going to play as slowly as possible. I for 24. So have I overlooked a cue spot? Well, just scanning the board, I don't think I have. So how can I go out with this rack? Is opponent also stuck with his C? No, he's got E-Cod. Does he have a second? And he has CAG and K. Okay, so he's definitely got C spots. And I don't think there's anything I could have... Well, I could have done something about CAG and K. And he hasn't spotted it. Fantastic. An error by opponent. So, E-Cod has not set up the cue. I need to be careful that I don't set it up with the play of an I. I can probably play off one tile at a time. And this isn't something which happens very often, so I'm not hugely experienced in it. Now, I note that my S can make yojanas and labiates. Is there anywhere better for the S? I don't think so, so that's 26 points. Phew, and when I heard that noise, I thought opponent had played, but he has, in fact, passed. So, EIIT. What's the best I can do with my T? And I think it's a case of scanning the board. 4 for at, 4 for ut, 4 for T. What for 10. Oft for less. Seven minutes on my clock, so fortunately acres of time, which is exactly what you need with a cue stick. So what does not set up the cue? I haven't checked just to confirm that I can definitely play all three of these tiles. I'm just fairly confident I can. But let me just check that there are two I spots. There's MI and AI and SI. So there's certainly, and GI. There are tons of I spots. So let me play the E next. Double E for 4. AE for 4. Woe for 6. And I'm only going to mention plays better than 6. Et and A for 9. He and L for the same. 6 minutes on my clock. Okay, not seeing anything better than that. Is there any way of preferring one play to another? Neither sets up the cue. Does either set up an I spot for me? No. So he for 9. Great, this should be a little quicker now because I just need to find two I spots. AI for 4. TI and ID, 7. Okay, so TI and ID. Does that set up the queue? It doesn't. And now finally I need to play the I again. And I saw 4, but I'm going to quickly scan the board in case there was a higher scoring spot. IO for 4. Jai is good, but the square isn't available. My is 4. So that's the best I saw. And there's the 20 odd points of count back that I was looking forward to finding or to acquiring. So the final score, 419 for me, 599 for my opponent, a winning margin of 180 points. So well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. Opponent absolutely on fire. And it was my opponent to go first. He had this rack and played till. And I played hidden for 12. I could have got 6 more points. But keeping DDNR, and I think my rack leave of HR is definitely 6 points better than DDNR. HR is a positive rack leave, possibly 3 points, and DDNR is going to be negative, maybe -7 or 8, difficult to evaluate. Certainly it would be okay if I draw a couple of vowels, but problematic with consonants. Anyway, nothing obviously better than hidden. Opponent plays Yo-Jan, which looks fine. And I play Hiver for 22. I could have played Thrive for 2 more points. Yeah, but keeping the F. Oh, no, I played Fiver, not Hiver, keeping hot. I think my play is best here. I think it's good to get rid of the F and the V, and there's no play here with a score to justify keeping either. Opponent's rack, and I've blocked migraine, so no bingo. Opponent plays in arm, and Neath, J12. Running down parallel to in arm, that's nice. And I play Hater for the same score. A slightly worse rack leave, but I prefer my play because Aneath puts an H in the middle of row O. Now, opponent plays Grok. Let's just see what his options were. Yeah, that looks best. And now my comeback begins, but I didn't do it with this. E14. Wow, Garots and Yojanas for 85. Instead, I play Orgiats for 8 fewer points. Now, Garots does open up the triple word squares in column 15. However, it is 8 more points, so maybe a better play. But if it is better, it's only slightly better. Now, look at this for a rack. Fantastic. An opponent gets his first 100-point bingo, the first of 3, and establishes an 80-point lead. And from this point on, it's all downhill for me. So this is the rack I was facing. Ron's was available, but keeping all 3 of UWW, so I'm confident that WoW is better than that. Now, opponent plays Z for 50, and I have this troublesome rack. So I play Unor for 17, E3. I could have played Nain for 30, but keeping W. So Unor keeps ENR. Is ENR 13 points better than RUU? Yes, it is. ENR must be worth 5 or 6 points, possibly more. And RW, I would say, is -10 or more, even more negative. So I think Unor is better. Certainly a much better rack leave. Now, opponent's rack, he plays lulls, which was a good spot. It's not a word which you see very often on a Scrabble board. Now, all I could find here was enablers, and that's all there is. Okay, and that brought me back to within 50 of opponent, but my hopes were immediately extinguished with this fantastic play of Compted. Tremendous spot by opponent, and that move really gave him the game. He had a 160-point lead. I have this rack. Wow, vetoes for 42, that's nice. F14. Yeah, again, the Yojana hook. So I play Evo for 29, 13 fewer points, and retaining ESTU. I prefer my play. ESTU, I think, is 13 better than you. Now, opponent's rack. And he's got a choice of bingos, Labiate and Abuato, E2. Onto the U. Wow. Not often to see a bingo ending in a U. And opponent is now 200 points in the lead. I play Fia. Wow, which doesn't even make this list because 50-point plays were available. Just by making this play longer to hook in arm. So 56 for Feist keeping the U with the possibility of drawing a Q. That probably is a better play. Now look at this. Absolutely fantastic for opponent. He doesn't play pigeons, however. He does find the other 100-point play with Epigons. Now, E1, that is not the best play. Let's just see. We don't have Examiner 1, that's a shame. So, I'm fairly sure this was the right thing to do, stopping opponent playing his Q. He does not have a Q play. Plays Ecod, could also have played Chidden or K and Cag. And Chidden and K and Cag score the same, so I wasn't a mistake. Now I play Yojanas for 26, and Labiates is the same play. Opponent doesn't have a play. And now it's a case of going out one square at the time, and Examiner isn't doing that. It's playing more than one tile, so I'm not sure how useful that is. I play what? Opponent still nothing. I play he, nothing for opponent. And now I go out with the eyes. Yep, 4 was all that was available for the final rack. So, what a game. Absolutely epic performance by opponent. All of the credit to him. Tremendous bingo spots. 3 bingos, over 100 points. I'm not sure I've ever achieved that in a game. So, absolutely magnificent performance by opponent. So, many thanks to my opponent for a tremendous battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.